So talk to us about your podcast, the Ineligibles podcast. How did that come about? And then kind of a follow-up to that, how did you become a contributor to Good Bull Hunting?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, like once I got to A&M, well, like first of all, like we were supposed to be good that year. Like we were preseason top 10. Go figure, didn't live up to that. But uh, like I remember because we had been like 6-6 the year before, but we were bringing back Ryan Tannehill, uh, Cyrus Gray, Christian Michael, Sean Porter on defense was a really good player for us. Um, and like I said before, like we were in all those games, and like I remember the heartbreak of Arkansas coming back on us in Jerry World with Petrino and like Justin Blackman just going off on us in the second half against Oklahoma State, and like even though I hated all that, like I still like I I loved going to games. I loved the football, like I loved the sport and the craziness of it, and that my freshman year was our very first coaching search. As we fired Sherman, ended up hiring Kevin Sumlin. I joined TexAgs, very famous message board for A&M. Been a member on there ever since. But being able to engage with that kind of community, I'm like, this is super freaking cool. And like amongst my friends, I was like, the football like nerd guy. Like if they had a football question, they'd be like, hey, like Will, like what do you think about this? And like what about this prospect or this player, like like that sort of thing. So that was kind of my reputation. And when I was a sophomore and junior, I worked for the radio station, which produces Tex-Mex radio. So I got to work with some of those guys for a couple years. And I remember I was actually on a much smaller or like a kind of an upstart network that was trying to make different podcasts for different schools. And I had like a little weekly thing on there, but that was 2014. And Jesse, I'm sure you remember this, but Bama beat us 59 to nothing in that game, and it, like completely crushed. Like I'm like, man, I'm so glad that this is not my full-time job, that I don't have to get up on Monday and go talk about this awful performance. So since then, it's something like I graduated, like I got a real job, and I've worked in the corporate world and whatnot, but um, uh, I still follow this, as close as ever. And some buddies of mine were like, hey, like like you should do a podcast, or uh, like my buddy Chase and I, like he was on the equipment team when we were in school, and he had a really great passion for it. So, um, like I really have to credit him for like kind of staying on me and like uh, convincing me to pull the trigger, because I was like, man, like no one gives a crap what I have to say. Like why would I ever do that? But we did it just to have fun and just to honestly, just to hang out once a week and just kind of just catch up and talk football. But I got associated with Good Bull Hunting through Robert Behrens, who's the managing editor there. And if you follow him at all, he's a Photoshop wizard. And when we were trying to come up with a logo, I sent him a message. I was like, hey, like, my name's Will. I'm trying to start this A&M podcast. Um, I don't know anything about Photoshop, but if you could like toy around with the logo for us, like this is our name, and see what you can come up with. And yeah, that kind of started our relationship. And after a little while, got him on the show as a guest. And uh, Good Bull Hunting, when I was in college, they had probably 12 writers that were there, or 12 contributors, I would say. And they would have, weekly like roundtable articles and things like that. And those guys all, kind of grew up and, had families, didn't have the time. And Robert was kind of the only guy left. And I had a passion for writing. I actually went and built a whole blog website for the Ineligibles. And I was like, why am I doing this? I can just message Robert and see if I can write for them. They already have it. Like they already have it built out and everything. So he was very receptive. And I did a little bit last year with some film breakdowns. And after this past season, he was like, hey, like we have a guy that's kind of taking a step back. Would you like to be a bigger contributor? With some breaking news type stuff and maybe some more longer form content. And I said, absolutely. So um, I've been doing that for, this season. Helped out with the baseball coverage back in the spring when the postseason was rolling. So yeah, it's been a great. I think it's a great situation for me uh, to have a creative outlet for this great passion of mine, and super fortunate for Robert and for Chase both. But with Good Bull Hunting giving me a way bigger audience than I ever would have got before. And what I always told Robert, I was like, even just putting Good Bull Hunting in my bio on Twitter, I can go to guests, potential guests and be like, hey, I'm with this thing that you've actually heard of, and it's not this, random blog that no one knows about. And I've gotten some decent guests out of the deal, and
Yeah.
it's been great. So I'm very very thankful for the situation that I'm in.